So for those of you that already follow me, you'll already know a lot of this part of my journey, but I just felt called to share it onto my TikTok audience because I'm not necessarily too personally connected to a lot of the people that follow me on TikTok. So I recently just went through a wild pregnancy and a free birth, a home free birth, with my partner and my doula. And it was genuinely one of the most peaceful, empowering, exciting, scary, overwhelming, beautiful, magical, spiritual, sacred experiences of my life. And for me, this was always going to be the choice that I would make due to my own experiences with Big Pharma, with hospitalisations, with the whole system in that way. So I knew that would be the only option for me, but it doesn't mean that I didn't face challenges whilst going on this journey. So I want to talk a little bit about that and a little bit about my journey into free birth and my birth. So starting from before I was pregnant, I had a lot of stomach problems. I was in and out of hospital for 8 years, and then I went into becoming a reader in 2017. A tarot card reader. I then went into the whole world of healing myself, became a multidimensional healer. So I do healing, past life regressions, hypnotherapy, reprogramming the consciousness. I do a lot of work on aligning the mind, body, soul and spirit together, and I do still offer readings and things like that. However, before going into pregnancy, I already had quite a lot of connection to my own spirit, to my own higher self. I already was working in the industry, I already was living the life, connected to self, connected to source, connected to my higher self, and listening to my intuition and doing what I felt was best. So from even before becoming pregnant, I had like a spiritual experience in regards to that. I was working on a retreat in Morocco, Mark Atwood's retreat, where I met the beautiful souls, Honey C. Golden, Abby, Wynne, and lots of other beautiful light workers, including Mark. And they were the people that first told me that I was going to be pregnant, that I was actually pregnant at that time, which I wasn't. But that was when the first seed was planted in terms of this conscious conception, and where the first planted seed was on this little earth being coming into this realm. So that was in November of 2022, and in January 2023 I found out I was pregnant with a beautiful little boy. And from the beginning of my pregnancy I knew that this had to be something I did my own way and the way that I felt comfortable doing, because I knew that it'd be an extremely difficult and uncomfortable experience if I did not. So from finding out I was pregnant, obviously I experienced some fears and I experienced some hesitancy, because I have in the past few years always just done what I felt was right for me. I listened to my intuition and I did that. But then becoming pregnant, it was this whole load of other anxieties that made me feel like, because I was pregnant, do I have to do things a different way? Do I have to not do things my own way and not listen to my intuition? I almost had more self-doubt, because it wasn't just me that I was making the decisions on behalf of. And I felt a lot more judgment from society, if you will, or even perceived judgment from me because I was carrying a child. So because I am very in tune with my own body, with my own health, and I am very aware when something's not right, when I am deficient in something. Again, I work a lot with my higher self, and I'm always working on connecting in with my physical vessel on what needs supplementing or making sure that everything is aligned within self. So I personally opted out of prenatal care because I personally felt that my body was a healthy vessel, and birth and pregnancy is not a medical emergency, it's a natural physiological process, and I didn't feel the need for medical intervention on something that didn't need medical intervention. I did seek medical support twice throughout the pregnancy. I had a stomach episode because I had quite a lot of sickness, morning sickness, and that started with my stomach, so I did consult medical teams on that specific issue, in which I had one scan there, and then I did get a private scan and I had private care in terms of if there was any questions or to get a fit to fly letter. So I didn't completely opt out of any medical support, I just opted out of a lot of the generalised offered prenatal support. I did have 2 scans and I did consult with one private doctor on one occasion. So that was my experience and what I felt was best to me. I listened to my intuition and did what felt the best to me. Throughout the pregnancy I was very, very active. I walked all the time, even up until doing quite a large hike on my due date. So I was very, very active. I did not really stop physically being active. I ate quite a lot of the things I wanted to eat. There was nothing really that I didn't eat. I really much listened to my intuition and my body. I did naturally go off fish and things like that, so I didn't want to eat them, but I obviously supplemented that. However, then as the process obviously got closer towards birthing, that was when I started to work a lot through reprogramming my fear, reprogramming my perceptions, my ideologies on birth, and reprogramming a lot of the fear that had been put upon me on other people's experiences and other people's fears that they were carrying, that they were projecting onto me and my experience. In regards to the kind of spiritual aspects to the pregnancy, I did know, I had a knowing I was pregnant before I took a test, and obviously that was confirmed. I then had quite a strange experience because I did feel different souls in terms of not one specific soul that had chosen to come through at that point. There was almost 2 or 3 souls that had the opportunity to come forward into this earth realm, and they were choosing which one would be most aligned. I do actually believe that these souls will come into the earth realm anyways, so I don't think that it was like one or the other. I believe it's in terms of time frame, which soul came first, which soul wanted to come first. So there was quite a mixed messages in terms of what I was receiving and what those around me was receiving, what a lot of light workers, psychics and people that were getting in touch that I haven't spoken to for a long time. There was a lot of mixed messages in terms of which soul it was that was coming into the earth realm. And at about 14 to 16 weeks, around that time, I can't remember the specific date, but that was when I felt the soul drop in terms of the little boy soul that is my beautiful phoenix now, and I felt his soul enter into the body in the earth realm. I did feel throughout the pregnancy that the soul does not stay in the body all the time. There is times where the soul returns back to the astral. It will always have the silver cord to the body, obviously. However, it was evident to me when the soul was present and communicating with my vessel, and when the soul of the baby was in the astral realm. So yeah, that was a really beautiful and kind of really cool experience as a spiritualist, as a connected being to the other realms, to experience that part of pregnancy. So because I do a lot of work on reprogramming the mind and the consciousness in general, on trauma and in healing, for me this specific aspect was not that much different, not a much different process. It was reprogramming the fear that creates the pain, the tension and the resistance and the panic in terms of going into birth. So I had to do a lot of reprogramming throughout the pregnancy. I watched a lot of wild pregnancy and free birth videos, a lot of podcasts. The Free Birth Society is a great podcast to watch. I followed a lot of accounts on Instagram so that I had that consciousness being, that energy being put in my consciousness. I have since then created a journal notebook that I will be putting for sale, that I started to do a lot of these questions and work through these worksheets myself, and reprogramming the consciousness with affirmations. So affirmations around the bedroom, just constantly looking at them to get the messages that I wanted my human self to be receiving in terms of feeling strong enough, capable, and that my body is built for this. One of the best things I'd say I did as well was to contact and hire a doula that was aligned to my frequency and aligned to my views, and that I felt really was the right energy in my birth space, and also someone who could give me confidence and reassurance in times where I didn't feel that confident and reassured. So she would bring that reflection to me in a very kind of calm, non-patronising, non-overbearing, touching, overwhelming. It was just a very much a sense of emotional and spiritual support as well, in terms of knowing what my intentions were, what my vision was, and all of us in the birth space had the complete same vision. We're in complete respect and alignment and flow with each other, and it was just such a sacred experience. But that's definitely something I would recommend to do if you are wanting to explore the route of free birthing. I would look into hiring a doula that shares your views. So I've rambled on quite a lot, so I'll have to make a part 2 on the birth story and when I went into birth and that experience for me and the build up to that on the day or 2 before that. So yeah, I will share that on the next video. But I hope this helps people understand kind of a little bit of my experience, and the main thing I took from it, that reprogramming this is just another aspect that we all need to work on reprogramming, is reprogramming birth. So I will leave you there. Lots of love, guys. Take care.